We're definitely not done with severe weather for the week ahead, as Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will all feature chances from the plains heading towards the east coast with yet another front. We're going to see plenty of the warmer than average temperatures, but eventually some cooler air will spill into the country. I've got the details on everything you need to know on the storms and the temperature trends ahead right here.
One Nation Weather.
I appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch my video. Don't forget that these awesome weather model maps that I use throughout my weather videos are from Weather Bell. Check out their free trial link below if you want access to those for free, and then you can get their subscription. Also, here's that reminder I quickly do at the start of every video. For those of you who are new to the channel, if you want more consistent, accurate, and educational forecasts in the future, and you are not already subscribed, consider hitting that button down below the video. Let's get right into this one, though, taking a look at those temperature anomalies with our European model through the rest of this week and towards the upcoming weekend. These are actually going to help us decipher where our best chances for storms are going to be along fronts, and you can make out one of our fronts, this horizontally oriented one that I've been talking about for the last few days now. It is going to be into parts of the Great Lakes and northeastern regions of the U.S. into our Wednesday, August 28th of 2024. Showers and thunderstorms are probably going to be focused in some of those hotter areas just south of the boundary, so Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, into New Jersey, southern New York. That could be a hot spot for storms Wednesday afternoon and evening. In addition to that, we've also got warm meeting cold up here in parts of Montana and then out into the Dakotas and Nebraska. That boundary, while it doesn't have as much in the way of warm anomalies, we're going to have plenty of cooler air rushing in behind any storms that can form late Wednesday with that front. That front is going to be strong enough to not only bring strong storms late Wednesday across that region, but into Thursday across other areas of the plains, and then by Friday you can see exactly where the front is going to be focused. Some of those cooler splashes of air really being driven by the thunderstorms in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. Meanwhile, we've got warmer air closer to the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley region. Through these areas and in areas in between in the Mississippi Valley, we're going to be watching these showers and thunderstorms, some of which could be severe as we close out the work week. So on our Friday, August 30th, 2024, if you have any evening plans, make sure you have an indoor backup option, or they just already are indoors. That's my best advice, because it could be pretty scattered about, and some of those storms could be definitely on that stronger to severe side. Speaking of those storms, let's go ahead and go day by day, timing out exactly where these storms are likely to be and where they're going to be feistiest. Now that we know exactly where those temperature anomalies are going to be greatest, we can kind of pinpoint those severe storm zones, and this is really that overall area that has the best chance for feisty storms into our Wednesday afternoon and evening. Now, this is not going to be for everyone. You see by those lighter green shades that the storms are probably going to be more isolated to scattered in nature across this entire expanse, but in some parts of the Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, and then up there in the Dakotas, we're going to be watching those primary areas for damaging winds, hail, and even up there in the Dakotas, we could see a couple of tornadoes with supercells. While those are the only areas really anticipating severe weather for our Wednesday afternoon and evening, I don't want to leave anybody out down here in Texas, Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, South Georgia, and into Florida. All of these areas, we're going to have at least some scattered to numerous showers and thunderstorms into our Wednesday afternoon and evening, and even into early Thursday. Some of that activity and the activity from our horizontal front will continue over the eastern third of the country, so you can see some of those storms there in the Mid-Atlantic and parts of the southern and northeastern region. Then we've also got some storms down there still along the Gulf Coast, as I just mentioned, but the main front that we're going to be focused on really through the rest of this week into the weekend and even early next week is going to be this vertical front that's really going to be extended from Minnesota all the way down here to the eastern parts of New Mexico on our Thursday afternoon and evening. The closer you are to that jet stream energy up there in the north central plains, the better chance you have of that severe weather. So Nebraska, northern Kansas, into northern Missouri, parts of Iowa and Minnesota, western Wisconsin, these are going to be all of those areas in that general region where we're going to have the best chance for damaging winds, hail, and a few tornadoes Thursday and into Thursday night. By Friday, this front is definitely going to be weakening down, or at least this part of the front will be, because most of the energy with it is going to be moving way on up there through parts of central and northern Canada. This is going to mean we're going to have that broad area, and this is why I said you need to have backup plans if you have any on Friday out here that are going to be involving the outdoors. This entire area, we could have some scattered showers and storms, and a few of those could be on that severe side. Texas, up to Missouri, up to Michigan, down here to parts of Pennsylvania and the Carolinas. Whether it's with this front or that old front that's lingering around, we've got the energy in place, we've got the instability, we've got the heat. Everything is in place for at least some isolated severe storms, and really this front's going to continue even into our Saturday, August 31st, from the northeast through the Ohio Valley back down to the mid-south, watching showers and storms. The overall severe weather chances with this front will continue to wane through the weekend as we lose a lot of the jet stream energy associated with it. But even down here, Texas, Oklahoma, over to the Carolinas, we could watch the slowly stalling front through the weekend and into early next week. All that energy lingering around could certainly increase a flood threat with time over this region, even if it has been very dry lately. This is some much-needed rain, by the way, for some parts of Texas. I want to go day by day now with our severe weather potential through the rest of this week, so use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead if you want to go to a specific day and time. But I'm going to start with our Wednesday, August 28th. That's when we've got the horizontal front bringing some severe weather to the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic. We've also got that new front up there in the Dakotas and Minnesota, and I've got a level 3 of 7 for both zones, as a couple of severe weather threats are evident Wednesday, one in the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic along a horizontal front, and the other in the Dakotas with that new storm system. I think I've said that before, right? Both areas possess the chance for isolated to scattered damaging winds and hail, as favorable jet stream energy will be in place. The best chance for supercells, including much larger hail and tornadoes, will be up there into the Dakotas. That's where we're really going to have the most energy. The coolest air is rushing in behind these storms, and you're about to see exactly how strong the jet stream energy is up there. But first, let's take a look at the Ohio Valley and Northeast, see how strong our jet energy is going to be. Remember, you're looking on the southeast side of these strongest pieces of energy for our severe weather chances to fire up. So there you go, Indiana, Ohio, into West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey. You're on that southeastern side of this jet stream energy, which is at least modest, so you need to be prepared for those stronger storms. Damaging winds and hail are pretty much going to be the only threats, other than maybe a very brief spin up in those areas. And then we've got that ripper of a piece of jet stream energy for this time of the year, moving through Idaho into Montana and parts of Wyoming, as well as out there into the western parts of the Dakotas. You see the right tip to that bottom arrow I've got right over there over in the central parts of South Dakota, moving up into North Dakota. That is that southeastern flank of this energy. That is a strong trough, and we're definitely going to see some strong severe weather out there, maybe even at level 4 worthy into the Dakotas. So be prepared for that Wednesday. Going into our Thursday, that front's going to be the main one we're watching, with that level 3 of 7 pushing towards Minnesota, Iowa, parts of Nebraska. This comes as that front, and then our older front that you can see there in the Mid-Atlantic, bringing isolated severe weather chances, will be our main features for our Thursday and Thursday night. The threats on these time frames will be heavily driven by a mix of daytime heating and upper-level wind energy, making damaging winds the likely hazards for most severe storms across both zones. However, the level 3 of 7 zone near western Iowa, we could see a few tornadoes and some hail in that mix as well. And again, it's because that same piece of energy impacting the Dakotas Wednesday moves eastward, and you're still in that southeastern flank into our Thursday, and now over a little bit more of a broad region. I want you to notice kind of that feeder energy. You can see that lighter blue stripe through parts of Nebraska, moving into some areas of southeastern South Dakota and into Minnesota. That's all that upper level wind energy really jetting on through, no pun intended, this region. On the southeastern side of that, of course, that is where those severe storms are expected to fire up. So Thursday could be another sleeper of a threat for tornadoes over here, western Iowa, eastern Nebraska, somewhere in that general vicinity. Be ready for the best chance of supercells on our Thursday. Now, as we go towards Friday and Saturday, I do want to focus in on where our threats are going to be then as well with our longer range severe weather. Notice the jet streams overall flattening out, not as much of a trough, so we're going to see the severe weather threats go down day by day. Nonetheless, we've still got this southeastern flank of jet stream energy. This is going to be where we're watching the best chance for storms Friday afternoon, so August 30th, 2024, around 5 to 8 p.m. With that daytime heating, you're on the southeastern side of jet stream energy from Oklahoma up to Michigan, over to parts of western Pennsylvania, western New York. That's where the best chance for severe weather should be based on this setup Friday. And as we go out of our Friday and into our Saturday, you're going to notice this energy really continues to wane in terms of its severe weather potential. You don't really see anything other than a flat jet stream. It's still a strong jet stream, it's just flattened out. So going out of our Saturday into our early Sunday, the severe weather potential then will be probably pretty minimal, but we could see some severe storms, and we'll see if the risk could maybe go up here from Missouri over to Maine. That's that general corridor to watch as you're still on that southeastern flank of our jet stream energy at that time. By the way, notice that jet stream energy moving through the north central United States. I'm about to play it out, and you're going to see it go through the Great Lakes and Northeast. That's what's going to bring next week's cool down that could last quite a while. But again, now that we've looked at the jet stream, let's look at where I actually would put down a level 2 of 7 on my ONW severe scale as we go towards our Friday and Saturday. Starting with Friday, really anywhere from Oklahoma up to the Great Lakes region, the mid-Mississippi Valley in between. That vertical front is going to bring that ripe environment. Temperatures are going to be 5 to 15 degrees above average Friday afternoon and into the evening. We're going to see some areas that have plenty of moisture as well to go along with that. So this should be a pretty ripe setup for at least some isolated severe storms through the region, even up there to parts of Ohio, and then back down to the Carolinas. Isolated severe weather along that front, and with the old front, that will still be possible. And then into our Saturday, remember I was saying the threats are going to go down day by day. If there is a threat zone on Saturday, it's probably going to be extending somewhere from that Kentucky-Tennessee border up here to around New York and Vermont, and of course things will shift, and other areas could be included, so don't take those graphics like your life depends on them. But here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look at my temperature anomaly graphics for the next 3 to 5 days. Here we go, starting out with our Wednesday, August 28th of 2024. Notice where it's going to be warmer than average, where some of those storms could fire up in the Ohio Valley into the mid-Atlantic. Meanwhile, just north of that, we've got that cooler air kind of moving on in, back on out here into Montana, Idaho, right behind where those storms could fire up in the Dakotas, cooler than average. By Friday, that cooler than average air is going to be trying to work its way into the Central Plains. It's not going to have much luck, and it'll have some reinforcements later this weekend that will actually get it to move further east. Anyway, though, we're going to be near average to a little below average, so enjoy it if you like cooler weather in parts of Nebraska, Kansas, the western panhandle of Oklahoma. East of that, though, where those storms are possible, 10 degrees above average in some parts of the Ohio Valley. And then by the time we get into our Sunday, notice that cooler air still lingering around in some parts of the central USA. We're going to get that new reinforcement that you can already see moving through Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. That's going to be banked up against some of the slightly warmer than average air in the east. The biggest anomaly on this map, though, is that warmer than average air you see up there in Washington State, into Oregon, Idaho, and western Montana. Temperatures 15 degrees above average there. With all those anomalies in mind, let's take a look at what these are actually going to look like with our high temperatures as we go through the rest of this week and into the upcoming weekend, starting with our Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. The most obvious anomaly here is just how warm a lot of the country is going to be for our Wednesday. This is one of the last days where quite an expanse of the country is going to be so far above average that it is extremely noticeable. But here we go, and we've got mid and upper 90s pretty much from parts of South Dakota and Nebraska all the way over here to Virginia, Delaware, and you see those boxes. If you're in any of those areas that have the boxes near you, you could be seeing a record high temperature on our Wednesday afternoon and into the evening. Now, as we go towards our Thursday, less record highs, but there will still be a few in some parts of the Ohio Valley and into the Tennessee Valley. Notice where we'll have that best chance for severe weather Thursday. That could include Nebraska, Iowa, some areas even a little bit further southeast. 90s and 80s up there, that's plenty of warmth. We'll have the moisture combining with that, and there's 70s pushing on those from the west. Then down here again, the Ohio Valley into the southeast, that's where we'll have the best chance of breaking some record highs Thursday. Still around 90 to 100 degrees. And remember those feels-like temperatures when you get the humidity this time of the year. They'll feel even hotter. By Friday, now we're starting to see the hot air get a little bit more confined, closer to where it should be this time of the year, down towards the south and the east. The one exception will be ahead of that front into parts of Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio, where we'll still be looking at mid to upper 90s, pretty much week-long event there with those 90s sticking around. Behind this warmer than average air, though, that's going to be moving through the south central and southeastern U.S., and will also be up in the western U.S. Look at what's going to be sliding in and kind of making a little bit of a dent. You can see up here in the Dakotas and in the Minnesota region, Iowa and Wisconsin, we've got some 70s. Friday will also be a cooler day behind that horizontal front in the northeast U.S. Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, into parts of Maine, Massachusetts. We've got Connecticut, Rhode Island. Wow, I don't know how I remembered all those state names, but we've got the 70s there too. And last but not least, as we go into our Saturday, notice there's no huge anomalies across a lot of, especially the northern United States. If anything, it's around average to a little cooler than average. There in the west, we're going to be seeing our heat really increase. You can see 90s even working their way as far north as parts of Washington State and into Idaho. In the southeast U.S., still warmer than average. You can see those anomalies right here on this graphic as we go towards our Sunday afternoon and evening. But the main focus for me showing you this graphic and our ensemble members being combined together is that they're indicating that we're going to have some cooler air moving in, not just out of the central United States, but even into the east as we go towards next week. We've been having that flip-flop between warm and cool weeks recently. This looks like a cool week heading towards next one. Tuesday, September 3rd, around the afternoon and evening time frame, we could be anywhere from around 5 to 15 degrees below normal for this time of the year, temperature-wise, from Texas and Oklahoma all the way through the mid-Mississippi Valley, the Ohio Valley, into the Great Lakes northeast. It is a big chunk of the country and some of the most populated areas that are going to be feeling that difference. This could be another one of those real shots of fall-like air, and the closer, of course, we get to fall, the less difficult it will be for it to feel like that. Warmer than average air could return a little bit further down the line, though, and you know I'll be right here with you to go through all those weather patterns, analyze them, and put them together into these edited videos. If you want more consistent, accurate, and educational forecast content in the future, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button down below. It really means the world to me. I'll see you right back here in the next weather video.
One nation weather.